Welcome. Look, whether you're upgrading your ride, downsizing, or just moving on, we all know selling a vehicle can be incredibly stressful. But today, we're going to make it surprisingly simple. This explainer is your ultimate step-by-step roadmap to safely handling, canceling, and selling a vehicle right here in Queensland. We're going to walk through exactly how to navigate the paperwork and the logistics, like arranging towing, without falling into any legal or financial traps, which is especially crucial if you're looking to sell an unregistered car. All right, let's jump right in. Okay, let's dive into this exact bureaucratic checklist so you know exactly what to expect. We'll be covering pre-sale PPSR checks, canceling your registration, handling your number plates, written off vehicles and refunds, avoiding buyer scams, and finally, finalizing the vehicle transfer.
Section 1. Pre-sale PPSR checks.
So I want you to put yourself in the shoes of a wary buyer for a second, or even a highly responsible seller. How do you definitively prove that the car is free from debt, isn't stolen, and hasn't been quietly written off by an insurance company somewhere down the line? This is the primary concern that can literally make or break a successful sale.
Well, the answer is incredibly easy. Seriously, it's just $2. A simple $2 personal property securities register or PPSR search gives you the official government proof you need to show the car is completely debt-free and safe to buy. So the takeaway here is, for literally the price of a cheap cup of coffee, you can hand your buyer a totally clean bill of health for the vehicle. That is absolute peace of mind.
Moving right along to Section 2, canceling your registration.
Now, if you're selling your car unregistered, officially cancelling your rego is your ultimate shield against any ongoing TMI liabilities. As you'll see here, it's a pretty straightforward three-step administrative process. Step 1, you fill out the cancellation of registration form. That's Form F3517. Step 2, you surrender your number plates. And Step 3, submit the paperwork for a potential refund on your unused rego. Just keep in mind, once you do this, the car cannot legally be driven. So whoever buys it will absolutely need to arrange towing or get an unregistered vehicle permit to move it safely.
But what about some of the more specific what-if scenarios? Like, say, handling a deceased estate. TMR has a very strict rule for this. The executor, administrator, or next of kin must actually transfer the registration into the estate of the deceased before they can cancel it. Why does this matter? Well, it ensures any refunds for unused registration go straight to the correct legal person rather than getting stuck in some endless bureaucratic limbo.
All right, Section 3, handling your number plates.
You know, when the government says you need to surrender your plates, it really just means handing them back. Now, if you have standard, regular Queensland plates, you do have to physically hand those in with your cancellation form. But if you've got personalized or custom plates, you actually get to keep them. You do, however, have to submit an extra form, Form F5339, just to officially detach them from that specific car in the system.
Of course, there are a few strict exceptions where you don't need to physically hand in the plates. For instance, if they were lost, stolen, or destroyed, you just declare that in Section 7 of the form. Easy. If you surrendered them interstate, just provide the receipt. But, and this is a big one, if the plates were confiscated by Queensland Police, your vehicle registration cannot be cancelled during that confiscation period. The whole cancellation process is completely paused until that situation is sorted out.
So how do you actually hand all this stuff in? You've got a few options. You can go in person to a TMR center, a QJAP office, or a police station with your forms and physical plates. You can snail mail them to the P.O. Box in Longreach, or you can email them. But check out the special condition for email. It is strictly restricted to cases where the plates are already out of your hands, meaning you've either already surrendered them or they fall under one of those exceptions we just talked about.
On to Section 4. Written off vehicles and refunds.
Now, what's really interesting and honestly absolutely crucial about this slide is what happens if your car was damaged and declared a total economic loss. Before you do anything, you need to check with your insurer, because the insurance company might actually take ownership of the registration as part of the claim settlement. If they do, the registration is no longer yours, which means, you guessed it, no refund for the seller on that unused rego.
But hey, if you are eligible for a refund, here is exactly how that financial recovery works. The TMR refund covers the unused chunk of your registration and your compulsory third-party, or CTP premium. It does exclude the traffic improvement fee and any surcharges, and yeah, they will deduct a cancellation processing fee. But here is an awesome pro tip. If the car hasn't been used since the accident, you can actually backdate the cancellation to the exact date of the incident using Section 7 on the form. That maximizes your refund.
Section 5, avoiding buyer scams.
Look, as much as we want to trust people, you absolutely must keep an eye out for these scam watch red flags. Watch out for fake personal loan brokers online who might try to target you or your buyer. And beware of relationship scams. Seriously, scammers are incredibly convincing and will use emotional manipulation to try and control the transaction. They might even try to isolate you from your friends and family so nobody points out that it's a scam. Just stay vigilant, trust your gut, and keep things strictly professional.
We also have to talk about this one, because mobile fraud is a huge deal right now. A fake buyer might actually try to hijack your phone number by porting it to a new SIM. Why? Because if they get your number, they can intercept your two-factor verification codes, reset your passwords, and get straight into your personal or financial accounts. No way do you want that. Never, ever give a buyer a verification code that gets sent to your phone.
And finally, Section 6, finalizing the vehicle transfer.
So let's say you decide to sell the car while it is still fully registered, rather than canceling it first like we've been talking about. If you go that route, the legal transfer must occur within 14 days of the sale. This is an absolute must, so you aren't held liable for the new owner's parking tickets, toll fees, or speeding cameras. You can do this in person at a TMR center or online. But remember, if you went the unregistered route and canceled it beforehand, you avoid this ongoing liability right out of the gate, and the buyer simply tows the vehicle away. Easy peasy.
So, what does this all mean? Well, if a $2 PPSR search and taking just a little bit of time to file the right TMR cancellation forms can literally save you from ongoing liabilities, massive fines, and vicious online scams, can you really afford to skip the paperwork when offloading your vehicle? Selling a car really doesn't have to be a massive risk. By following this roadmap, you are fully prepared to navigate the Queensland transport system safely, confidently, and entirely on your own terms. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy selling.